Imagining what people in war-torn Syria must be going through is nearly impossible. And from the comfort of our own homes, we often feel unable to help them. That's why a Portsmouth charity has asked locals for much-needed donations. And they must have hit a nerve. Hundreds of people from Portsmouth have been giving everything from food to clothes. Our reporter Nicole Riz has the details.
It's in a world of its own when you open one of the doors in Venture Tower in Portsmouth. These donations will be packed and shipped to help people in Syria soon. They've been gathered by Portsmouth-based Don't Hate, Donate, and when the situation in Syria was worsening, the charity organised an event to get support from local people. And the response has been overwhelming, seeing 2 containers full of goods filling up in only 2 weeks.
What I wanted to do was give the tools to everybody, to people that had never been involved with charity before, because many people are feeling helpless and hopeless in this situation. So I said, okay, we'll create an event, bring the things that you no longer need, and Portsmouth delivered. Portsmouth delivered 26 tons of aid in a very, very short amount of time. And I think that many people have actually come back to me and said, you've enabled us to do something. We weren't comfortable with sending money because we don't know what happens to that money. But if you can show me that your aid gets into Syria, which we have many videos showing that, then I want to take part. So it's created a whole new vibe of humanitarians here in Portsmouth, which is can only be a positive thing.
Don't Hate, Donate have been sending out aid to different countries for almost a year now. And it all started with the goodwill of Chantal while she was helping out at a refugee camp.
I saw the situation with the refugee crisis and I thought, okay, I've got to do something about it. I called several large charities. They said that all I could do, I can't volunteer, all I can do is send a direct debit. And I thought that's not enough. So I got a one-way ticket to a refugee camp. Spent 2 months there and it just went from there.
And what were your impressions when you got there?
Yes, it was very, very difficult. You really cannot imagine it unless you've been through it. And you can prepare yourself, and you can prepare yourself from videos, from the media, but nothing prepares you for when you get there and you are getting hundreds of requests a day for things that you've never thought about. So coming up to you asking for water, for food, for somewhere to sleep, newborn babies completely drenched in seawater, and you're just everywhere, and it's just chaos. You'd prioritise babies and children first, and food. You'd ensure that they'd have food during the day because there'd be thousands of people in the refugee camp. And then you'd get a boat arriving with 100 people that have just been rescued from the sea. Some people wouldn't make it. They would only say if there was 100 people on that boat arriving, maybe 20 of them were lost in the ocean. So then you're dealing with soaking wet families and children, but you're also dealing with parents that are grieving because they've lost their 3-year-old in the ocean.
How do you mentally balance that out when you have so many negative pictures that you get every day? How did you do that mentally?
You learn to be very, very grateful for what you have, and then you learn that actually if you've witnessed it and you remain silent, you're an accomplice to the suffering. So I very quickly took that from me. I very quickly realised, okay, these emotions, actually put those into action. And then that's when I'm going to see change. And that's how I got through.
Chantal says she's working over 80 hours every week to ensure that those who are in desperate need get help. But despite the generous donations, there are still things that are much needed.
We do usually get a lot of clothing, so you get a lot of clothing, which is really needed, but we would like more medicine. Medicine is, without a doubt, priority. It's the most important thing, especially in a war zone, as you can imagine. And those hospitals do not get stocked up by any official or government, so they need stocking up with humanitarian aid. So we need a lot of medicine. So hospital supplies, prescriptions, everything.
People interested can bring their donations to Ventnor Tower, where Don't Hate, Donate are currently based, until they hopefully find a warehouse in the city. Nicole Riz, for That's Solent.